approach to conventional challenges. A very unique topic for discussion in the times that we are right now in. So, my next question is to Aju. As a founder of technology startup with offices in US and India and serving customers globally with product and services solutions, what has been the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity brought on by COVID 19? And what has been your strategy to adapt to the change?
First of all, thank you, Priya, for inviting me to this wonderful event. So, when you shared this topic, conventional approach to unconventional, so I was intrigued to look into the past. So because what we say is conventional wisdom or conventional approach is something that we learned in the past. So, I try to take a step back because and see, what we have learned in the past that we're trying to use against the challenges we are facing today. Right? So, as a technology company, we do things around artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, life sciences, and so everything we do around this with data. And so we have been bracing for a downturn since 2019, just because if you look from the past since World War II, every decade we have been having some kind of downturn, economic downturn. In the last one we had was in 2008. So it was about time. So we kind of were expecting an economic downturn, but not what we saw. But then I wanted to go back and see from a epidemic or a pandemic perspective, if there was anything that history could teach us. And if you see every century since 1500, 1500 had the epilepsy epidemic. Then we had different variants of plague in the 1600s and the 1700s. We had the flu in the 1800s, the Spanish flu in the 1900s. So, we should have learned enough from the history. Conventional wisdom should have taught us that, we had to be prepared for something like this. Like as Gopalji said, we probably have to be prepared for more. And of course, this did throw up a lot of challenges to all the businesses around the world, including um, in the interest of the time. I'm not going to talk about the operational challenges that we had, but more of challenges that, kind of, we were, as I said, for the downturn, we were bracing for a downturn, but there were unexpected challenges that came our way. So I'll talk a little bit of that and say how we address that. So first of all, I never expected the world to be shut down. It's like unbelievable that the world could get shut down. And for me, it was personally a challenge because about 70% of the time I'm on road meeting our partners, and customers, investors. So beginning of March, my whole calendar opened up. Like I had no travels. So I was starting to get worried there. And then India shut down. And immediately in like 2 or 3 days, we started to see that we were getting hit with something that we didn't plan. When we told our team to go ahead and work from home, we thought the team would be very happy because we are fortunate that as a company, a lot of things can be done, or almost everything can be done from home. But suddenly we started seeing the emotional breakdown in our team motivation going down. And that's because, there's a fabric of going to work. People work, they collaborate, there are a lot of ideas exchanged. There's a lot of positivism that happens. And when people were although it's the same team and they had to start working from home, they were missing it. And uh, so they were actually, the morale was really going down. I had to regroup with the whole team, and started to tell them with this quote, that if you want to see the rainbow, you have to put up with the rain. So I said, we've been through so many. This is like the rain that we are waiting to see the rainbow. And then we looked at it and said, what can we do to make them feel better? So we didn't do anything great. We just used some common approaches. What we started doing is we started having all calls that we were having on webcam so people could see. We started doing something called the social hangouts, which basically every alternate day, people come in for 30 to 45 minutes on a Zoom or some conferencing tool, and then we play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Family Feud, simple games. Uh, no work discussed. It's so that we can replicate some of the things that was there at work. Like we started birthday parties. Um, the beauty is people started coming together. They started liking this. Their morale started going up. Um, we also ensured that, one of the biggest worries at this time is people, the finances, will they get their wages? So we ensured that, we started paying them early so that, they don't have to worry on that. So this in all actually helped us overcome some of the psychological issues the team was having. And once we had the team back, you know, this is a golden opportunity for anybody who's trying to build a product, because there's nobody out selling anything. Everybody is so you can catch up on so many things that are there in your back burner. You don't have to worry about what a new customer is asking. So I told the team that it's the best opportunity we have to take up the projects that we were not able to complete. To build in the features that our competitors had, to build in the capabilities and skills that our competitors had. Because at this point, there's no sales happening, and when the world opens up, we are going to be at par with this. So we started working on things that would help us also, bring up ideas and concepts that will help world fight COVID-19 as we go along, using some of the technologies that we had. As far as I was personally concerned, one of the beautiful things that I actually noticed is, yes, I was very worried whether I can be able to meet up with all the investors, the partners, the customers, because I used to meet them very often. And now, since I could not travel, I did not know what to do. But the beauty of this is it opened up so much time for me that I'm actually being connected with my customers or partners twice as often as otherwise I would have. Because now I can call them more frequently. I can get on phone calls and cams more frequently because they also have more time. So it's just beautiful. If you actually look at the way, if you can look at there's a lot of bad things that is happening, but if you are one of the fortunate ones who are not affected, then look at the positive side.
My next question is going to be a question that is basically your personal reflection. What was your most impactful personal learning during this pandemic, and what is your advice to the viewers?
Well, actually, I tried to. There's nothing we can do. So, like as Madhurji and Brahmanandji said, I've been able to connect with a lot of my friends which otherwise we would not do. And personally, what I did is I picked up a new project every week that I have never done in my life. I don't know to dance. So I told my daughter to teach me Bollywood dance. So I performed to the family one week. I wrote up a stand-up comedy routine and performed and webcam to some of my friends. So every week I tried something new so that this is my 6th week in lockdown. So there's nothing you can worry. Just you can do. If you can. And my advice to about make the lockdown miserable, make it memorable. Because if you can put food on table and you can take care of a loved one, don't make it miserable. Just make it memorable. It's once in a lifetime opportunity for you to do things that you would have otherwise never done.